this. You're not seeing a football matchup here. This is basketball we're talking about. Alabama and Clemson, two of the most exciting teams in this tournament. Clemson hoping to continue to dance. They've gotten upsets every single stop of their tournament run, but they'll take on a Bama team that knows how to put points on the board. We are excited for basketball. So we got Mike O'Donnell in studio. We also welcome in our betting guy, Erik Kuselias, to the show. So MOD is going to give us his player to watch, and then EK is going to give us the play you should make in order to make some money. So let's start with that first one. Illinois taking on Yukon. They're trying to stop the Huskies in their tracks, Mike. I thought this was interesting. I was reading earlier, and Dan Hurley shared a conversation that he had with Billy Donovan about repeating, the pressures that come with that. And his advice, Billy Donovan's advice to Dan Hurley, was don't think of it that way. Focus on your team and what's been special about your Yukon Huskies this year, and the rest will sort of play itself out. So when you think about sticking to the formula for Yukon, how can they get it done today, especially when they're facing an Illinois squad that's got Terrence Shannon on the other side?
Well, Yukon is masterful at controlling the tempo, and they have the top 5 offense in the country. They have a top 6 defense in the country, and they do everything well. And that's probably even putting it lightly. They do everything at an elite level. But ultimately, they're going to have to contain for Terrence Shannon and Illinois, because Zach Edey has been the best player in college basketball this season, but Terrence Shannon has been the best player in the NCAA tournament. He's averaging 28 points a game in his 3 NCAA tournament games, shooting over 60% from the field, and he was the most lethal pick-and-roll scorer in the Big Ten, period. If you look at the overall national efficiency rankings on the season, Zach Edey is #1. Most college basketball fans could pick that with their eyes closed. Terrence Shannon was #2 this season. If you take the course of the whole season, not just Big Ten play, and I think he doesn't get talked about enough for being one of the elite scorers and players in college basketball. He's having an outstanding NCAA tournament.
Illinois is a very, very, very dangerous team, and if I were building a team to beat Yukon, there's 3 things I need. You have to speed them up, you have to be able to knock down more threes than Yukon does, and you have to make more free throws than they take, right? And you got to have a pro to do that, and that's what they have at Terrence Shannon. They have the ability to speed them up. That being said, this may not be so fun for the Illini, especially in the first half. And I'm going to take Yukon -4 in the first half. Yukon is the #1 team in the country at covering first half spreads. Usually that goes to some team that's kind of a smaller school that you don't really think about, and they're just a little better than you think. No, Yukon is #1 at covering first half spreads, 31-5-1. And here's the thing. If you really watched their last 2 games, their offense hasn't played well. That's what's kind of scary for everybody else. They didn't play particularly well, especially in the second half against Northwestern. And if you look at what happened, where was Caravan last game? I mean, against San Diego State. No, Donovan clanged like 9 balls from inside 4 feet, and they still scored 40 points in each half. Their median points scored since March 1st is 87 a game. Illinois is good. Yukon is great. Yukon early. And what is a home game? I will be at the game. It is going to be a home game for Yukon. You will think you're at Stores. Yukon at home -4 first half.
Yeah, they have just been so good this year. If anyone can repeat, it kind of feels like the Huskies can do it. Let's jump over to the West Coast. If you didn't know the name Grant Nelson before, now you do, because what a show he put on for Alabama in their win over UNC. Single-handedly, MOD just taking over that game against Yukon. I believe he had the final block as well for the Tide to win. But on the opposite side of that, we've got to give Clemson their respect here, because Clemson has just been incredible. I mentioned it in the lead-in, upsets left and right here. All that being said, who are you watching for to be a difference maker in this game?
Well, first of all, this matchup makes no sense.
No sense.
On paper, holistically, analytically, it makes no sense that this is an Elite 8 matchup. This is a national championship football game. That's what we're all used to. Clemson deserves to be here. Their offense and defense has been dialed in the last 5 games. Alabama has been one of those teams where every single coach in the country is, I don't want to play Alabama. because they're the #1 scoring team in the country. They average 91 points a game. That has a lot to do with their point guard, Mark Sears, the lefty. And if you look at players in the SEC who are elites and elite scorers, you're immediately going to go to Dalton Connect. But Mark Sears is the truth. Real hoopers know how good Mark Sears is. He has the highest overall player rating in the SEC per KenPom, averaging 21 points a game, a big-time skilled passer. There's so much Jalen Brunson in his game. And even though Brunson's a little bit bigger, Sears is the better shooter than Brunson, but he has that same shiftiness, balance, and ability to play off 2 feet in the paint. He has been playing off the charts lately. Top 15 in the country in dribble jump shot shooting efficiency. I mean, in ISO, he's good. In pick and roll, he's good. In transition, he's good. Sears is the real deal.
Is he good?
Pretty good.
He's good, and Alabama may win, but I think there's going to be less points than projected on the board. And it's not because of Alabama, it's because of Clemson that I look at this. And Clemson is a team to me that is now a dead under team. And when I look at Clemson, they are an under team for the year. They're an under team on a neutral court. They're an under team when the total is in this area between 150 and 170, which is where this lies. And this is 164.5, and it's climbing. And here's the thing I look at. Clemson has played 13 games against teams in the tournament. That includes North Carolina twice, Duke, Alabama, who they played during the regular season, Arizona, who wants to score a lot of points. Nobody has hit 80 against Clemson. Nobody. None of those tournament teams. The median total that they give up in those games is 67. If you look at that total, if both teams aren't over 80, you're not going to get this. So I don't see it, considering Clemson doesn't give up 80, and they probably won't be able to score 80 in this spot. I like the under 164.5, even though Clemson shoots really good. They're great at the free throw line, which hurts us towards the end of the game. So if you want to isolate the first half under, I'm all for that too. But this is an under game for me.
These two teams have met previously this season. I know.
I have no idea what EK just said. I don't have a clue, but I'm taking notes. I'm recording this segment because I'm trying to get better and learn, but I don't know what you just said.
You're learning from one of the best. Let's jump ahead here.
Under. That's all you need. One word. Under. Less points.
Got it.
Less. We're not going to have this game's not going to be 90 to 80. That's what I'm telling you.
So there you go. You learned something.
I'm in. I'm all in. Yeah, I got
the under.
Yeah.
Let's jump over and talk about the tournament darlings. NC State taking on Duke and what will be an ACC tournament rematch. You can't talk about NC State without talking about DJ Burns, Mike. He has just been so much fun to watch. This is a team that I believe has won 8 times in 8 games, so it's been impressive to see. And our Danny Cannell told us from the jump to take the Wolfpacks in this one. Of course, his nephew plays for the team, but they have been so much fun to watch. How do they now compete with a Duke team that's proven? They've been here before, looking both of those teams to get to the Elite Eight.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I agree with Danny Cannell. I cannot believe those words came out of my mouth. But NC State just looks like a team of destiny. And a lot of it has to do with their absolute tank on the interior, DJ Burns. He is the absolute truth inside of the paint. He's like a left tackle with the hand-eye coordination of an Olympic ping pong player. His touch, elite. His passing, elite. His footwork, elite. Everything he does inside of 10 feet of the rim is almost impossible to guard. And when you compound that with how well DJ Horn is playing, this is just an NC State team that looks great. The way that they're playing on both ends of the floor, the passing, the connectivity, if you've ever played the game, you kind of look at it and say, okay, this team just gets it right now. They have a chemistry, they have a connectedness to their lineup right now that looks great, and I just going to have a really hard time not picking NC State in this game. DJ Horn, DJ Burns, DJ can spin it all the way to a win. I mean, that was one of the worst jokes I've ever told.
It was really bad.
It was bad. But that's kind of who I am, a bad joke. Yeah, it's not good.
EK, help us out. Let's get past that DJ.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, you know?
Look at Mike O'Donnell on the 1s and 2s right there, getting it done. All right, fine. There you go. There's your little DJ joke. Keep going. There we have it. All right. I like over in this game. I think we're getting over 142.5 points. I think we're going to get points. NC State is filling it right now. And you can see that Duke will give you a little tsunami now and again. They got a lot of guys who can shoot it at the guard position. Filipowski is really a guy now. I mean, I saw him making threes, making shots from the elbow, and they have wing guys who can get there and give you the short dunks, the in-transition points, that kind of stuff. So I like more points than projected in this game, especially if this is in that range of 3 to 8, which becomes a foul, walk it up, foul, walk it up, foul, walk it up. You know, you make those points. No time comes off the clock, and we get a lot of points at the end. So 142.5. I think we're going to go over on the points. I don't have to pick a winner. I don't have to worry about alienating Danny Cannell. Worse yet, I don't have to worry about agreeing with Danny Cannell. I just get points over 142.5.
DK, man, he even had a shirt reveal telling us that NC State was going to win. The ACC, by the way, guys, 11-2 in this year's tournament, so they have been spectacular as this year has rolled by. Let's talk about the matchup that I personally am looking the most forward to. The 1 versus the 2, Tennessee taking on Purdue. I mean, the matchup doesn't get any better than this, MOD. You've got Dalton Knecht versus Zach Edey. An unstoppable force meets an immovable object, I think, is the phrase that fits perfectly here. So who are you watching for in this matchup?
A much better metaphor and joke than I told earlier, so well done, Haley. You know, a little bit of rematch from the Maui Invitational, where Purdue won. Tight game. Actually, Tennessee was up by 1 at halftime. But this is a different Tennessee team. This is a different Purdue team. And Dalton Knecht this is a perfect game for Dalton Knecht to show the world, the general just sports fan, how good he is and how good he can be in moments like this. And he dropped an easy 24 points last night in the win versus Creighton. First team AP All-American. He's the most electric scorer in college basketball, period, because his floor is 20 points, his ceiling is 40 points. There is no player in the country that has that type of floor and ceiling in college basketball. He's the most intelligent ISO scorer in the country analytically. He'll give you 20, he'll give you 30, he'll give you 40. This is the game for Dalton Knecht to go off against Purdue.
And he's great. And I'm disappointed, in fact, that he hasn't gotten even more attention in some regard. But Purdue's going to win the game, to me. And I'm going to go Purdue on the money line. Look, but for the fact that Tennessee had this weird 18-0 run against Creighton, the rest of the game, Creighton kind of outplayed them. You know what I mean? Tennessee had that really important and earned but strange little drought, Sahara Desert drought by Creighton. And if they don't get that and force that, which they will not be able to do against Purdue because you have Zach Edey, that's enough to sort of send that tide. And Purdue shoots free throws really well. And Zach Edey shoots free throws really well. And Tennessee, after Knecht, I worry about them having enough scoring on a consistent level. Nobody else on that team averages more than 12 a game other than Knecht. And the guy who is second is a terrible free throw shooter. So Purdue is a big edge from the free throw line. They are more balanced, believe it or not. Even when you think Edey, you think it's, you know, Edey and friends, Edey and the Pips. But it's actually, you know, they're more balanced than Tennessee is. So I think Purdue finds a way through this. I think Tennessee played kind of their A-plus game in that 18-0 drought, which is the reason why they're here. They will not get that against Purdue. Purdue wins the game.
Okay, the Boilermakers. That would make our Tracy Anderson, our boss here, very, very happy to hear that. EK helping us get ready for the March Madness. Hey, you can get more betting analysis from our guy EK by using the promo code EKWins to get you 60% off a quarterly plan with Sportsline. Sportsline helps you bet with confidence on your favorite sports as the crew brings you real-time sports betting info, including Vegas odds, picks, projections, every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock. But get that 60% off. Use EKWins as the promo code.